Hi, it's Grandpa. It's time for a story. Are you ready for a story? I hope so, because I'm ready for a story. Have you heard of Little Red Riding Hood? This is a story of a little girl, and she wears red. So we're going to read this story, and I'm going to show you the pictures. I hope you enjoy it. Let's see. So I'm hoping that Maverick's out there. Is Maverick out there? Maverick, are you there? Let me know you're there. Savannah. Hi, Savannah. Let's see. Who am I forgetting? Barrett. See, I'm thinking of Barrett. Hey, Barrett. Hi, dude. How are you? And then who am I forgetting? Do you know who I'm forgetting? Eli. Eli. I didn't forget you. I'm just teasing you. Okay, let's get to our story. Little Red Riding Hood. Once upon a time, there was a young girl who lived in a village near the woods with her mother and father. Every so often, they would travel to visit her grandmother on the other side of the woods. The young girl's grandmother always doted on her and gave her presents when she visited. The best present her grandmother gave her was a little red riding cap with a little red hood. She wore it everywhere she went, and soon enough, everyone was calling her Little Red Riding Hood. Imagine that. See, over here's her grandmother, and there's Little Red Riding Hood, the star of the story. One day, Little Red Riding Hood's mother called to her and said, "Your grandmother's not feeling well. Why don't you go for a visit and take her some treats to brighten her day?" "I would love to," replied Little Red Riding Hood. So Little Red Riding Hood set out on the path to her grandmother's house. There she is, leaving her house, and she's right here going to Grandma's house. You've been to Grandma's house before, haven't you? I think you have. As Little Red Riding Hood entered the woods, a wolf approached her. Since she did not know that he would really like to eat her up, she was not afraid of him. So they started to talk. "Hello there, little girl," said the wolf. "Hello," said Little Red Riding Hood. "Where are you going to all by yourself?" asked the wolf. "Oh, I'm heading to my grandmother's house. I'm going to take her some treats." "That is so very kind of you," said the wolf. "Pray tell me, where does your grandmother live?" "She lives in the first cottage along the path just beyond the river," Little Red Riding Hood told the wolf. "You know what your grandmother would love?" the wolf asked as she concocted a plan. "You should pick her some wildflowers to make a bouquet." "That is a splendid idea," replied Little Red Riding Hood. And so she began wandering through the woods looking for the prettiest flower she could find. That was exactly what the wolf wanted. Now he could get a head start and arrive at Grandmother's house. There is Little Red Riding Hood picking flowers. Can you see that okay? What do you think, Savannah? You think you would pick some flowers for Grandma? When the wolf arrived at Grandmother's house, he knocked on the door. "Who's there?" Grandmother asked. "It's your granddaughter," the wolf replied in a high-pitched voice, trying to sound like Little Red Riding Hood. "I have some treats for you." "Oh, how nice," said Grandmother. "Pull the latch, my dear, and come on in." There's the wolf entering Grandma's house, and she thinks it's Little Red Riding Hood. This could be a problem. The wolf burst into the room and tried to let me try that again. The wolf burst into the room and tried to grab Grandmother, but she was surprisingly quick on her feet and managed to get away. She immediately ran off to get help. Oh well, thought the wolf, I can still wait for a little girl. He looked around for one of grandmother's nightgowns as he concocted another plan. Another plan by the evil wolf. What do you think he's going to do? A short while later, Little Red Riding Hood came to the door. Uh-oh. When he heard the knock, the wolf once again disguised his voice, this time to sound like grandmother. Who is it? It's me, Little Red Riding Hood, she replied. Pull the latch and come on in, dear child, the wolf said. Little Red Riding Hood noticed that it did not sound like her grandmother, but she thought perhaps her cold had changed her voice. So she went inside. She approached her grandmother's bed and noticed she did not look like herself either. I think she's suspicious that something's wrong. What do you think? Grandmother, what big arms you have. All the better to hug you with, the wolf replied. Grandmother, what big ears you have. All the better to hear you with. Grandmother, what big eyes you have. All the better to see you with. Grandmother, what big teeth you have. All the better to eat you up with, said the wolf. And with that, the wolf jumped out of bed and chased after Little Red Riding Hood. Uh-oh. What's going to happen? Is the wolf going to get her? I hope not. Fortunately, just then grandmother returned with some help from a woodcutter who was working nearby in the forest. The three of them chased the wolf out of the house and into the woods all the way to the river. The wolf was running so fast that he fell right into the river, and the water carried him far, far away, and they never saw him again. There's the woodcutter, there's Little Red Riding Hood and grandmother, and there's the wolf in the river where he belongs, being swept far, far away. Little Red Riding Hood and her grandmother thanked the woodcutter and offered to share their treats. As they ate cake to celebrate, Little Red Riding Hood promised them that she would never talk to a wolf again. That would be a good idea. Would you talk to a wolf if you saw a wolf and he said hello? Would you talk to him? What would you do? I hope you would just run away. There's Little Red Riding Hood. The end. I hope you enjoyed that story. We'll do some more real soon. Love you guys. Have a good evening.